in all days and all ways. Peace.
The only thing you have to do, as we have always said, is just follow the steps of the 4-point formula of acting on your passion to the best you can, with no insistence or assumption of the outcome, and stay in a positive state no matter what manifests so you can get a benefit from it. But you must follow these steps as precisely as possible, and also include the understanding of how to investigate your negative beliefs and let them go. And also allow yourself the opportunity to realize that everything works automatically when you follow the formula. And when you relax into the flow of your true self, your flow will take you exactly where you need to go. When you act on your passion, you raise your frequency. When you raise your vibrational frequency of energy, you become a more sensitive receiver and antenna for higher frequency information and energy from other higher level sources. So the way to match the vibration more readily of our civilization as Eshakani is to simply follow the formula as precisely as you can, let go of the beliefs that don't serve you, and recognize the automatic tools that come into play, like synchronicity being the organizing principle of your life, and let them operate in the way they naturally operate without having to worry about whether or not you're off the path. Just let them do what they need to do, and know that you will attract everything you need to live a fulfilled life. And by raising your frequency in that way, you will match whatever vibrational resonance you need to that will be of best service to you and to the rest of your planet, as well as to the cosmos.
Hi.
And to you, good day.
How are you?
Perfect. And you?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Please proceed.
I'm Gabriela from Canada, and my first question is about the formula.
Yes.
So in the formula, you say to act on the excitement to the best of your ability until you can take it no farther.
Yes.
How does the formula incorporate rational thinking or logic?
Well, you can be rational and logical about what it is you're experiencing. You can understand it from that point of view. But it's not really about taking that too far. It's not about overthinking or overcomplicating the idea. It's more about allowing things to flow in a natural way, knowing that that's how things work. Whatever it is that then does manifest, you can think about in any way, shape, or form you would like to, as long as the thinking process doesn't interfere with the natural flow of what synchronistically needs to come to you to serve you.
Because I was thinking that maybe rational thinking sometimes can be fear-based beliefs.
Of course it can.
Like that.
Of course it can. But that's where you have to be honest within your own self-investigation to be able to tell the difference between excitement and anxiety.
And also there's such things such as religious norms or social norms.
Yes.
So when they interfere with your excitement...
They don't interfere with your excitement. Your belief systems may allow them to interfere, but they themselves don't interfere if you don't necessarily believe that they have anything to do with your true self and your true path. You're the one that allows them to interfere if you have that experience. They can't interfere on their own.
So is it like you can change the beliefs or like...
Yes, of course. That's the whole idea, is you change your beliefs to be more in alignment with who you prefer to be, as long as you know you are remaining within holistic integrity and not changing your beliefs to something that is out of alignment with who you are, then you are walking the path of least resistance that is true for you. So of course you can change your beliefs, because your beliefs are what create your reality experience. Nothing else does.
Okay, because I was thinking that maybe these are like those norms, maybe they're also sometimes fear-based.
Yes, they are. So if you recognize the ones that are fear-based and don't prefer to buy into the ones that are fear-based, you have the choice not to do so.
Mm-hmm. And the same goes like for the attraction. If you're attracted to do something or to someone, and then you have a fear, a belief that blocks you and like says, oh, you're not supposed to, that means that you encountered on a fear-based belief that you should change or investigate. Is that correct?
Well, again, it's about understanding the reason why you would choose to do anything. You have to be in touch with the belief behind why you choose to do things, so that you can recognize if you're doing things or choosing to do things that are based on either positive or negative beliefs. Again, this is all about knowing yourself more clearly, becoming more transparent to yourself so you understand the reason why you might choose to do something more clearly. And then you'll be able to tell whether that reason is positive or negative.
Thank you.
Yes.
So my next question is, why do I often feel like I'm wasting my time? Is it a matter of me appreciating more of where I am, or me making choices that leave me compressed or not following my excitement, or is it something?
Well, it could be both and either. You have to, again, be honest within your own self-examination as to what it might be in any given circumstance or situation. The idea, again, of wasting your time, so to speak, yes, can be representative of not appreciating what's happening in the moment because you think that somehow, for some reason, what's happening can't serve you, when of course it always can, if you stay in the proper state to use it and derive a benefit from it. But always make sure, when you say that something does or doesn't excite you, always check with yourself and make sure that you're not the one with your beliefs dampening the excitement that could be there. Make sure you're not the one with your beliefs that's making anxiety look like excitement instead of realizing it's anxiety. Always check with yourself to make sure you're not the one that is coloring what's going on. But if you finally recognize that certain ideas really are truly representative of your passion and your excitement, then act on them to the best of your ability with no insistence on the outcome and stay in a positive state no matter what happens. Because even if something manifests that you neutrally don't prefer, you have to know it's got to be there for a reason that can serve you. And if you stay in a positive state, you will derive the benefit from whatever it is that happens. And by doing it that way, then whatever manifested will go away more quickly if it doesn't belong in your life, because you've been willing to accept that there must have been a reason for it to have appeared in the first place.
I also have a question about discomfort.
Yes.
Is discomfort often present when changing beliefs?
It can be, although it doesn't have to be. Again, there may simply be resistance to changing the belief, and the resistance can cause the sensation of discomfort because you're not used to what you're changing to. But you can allow yourself to get used to the idea of change, and when you get more used to the idea that change is okay, you won't be uncomfortable when you change.
Mm-hmm. And so because I was thinking that maybe when you feel discomfort or feel uncomfortable, it's a flag to not go somewhere.
It can be, but again, this goes back to what we said at first. You have to know yourself well enough and investigate yourself honestly enough to know the difference between why you're choosing or not choosing what it is that the choice is about, so that you know whether or not you're making a choice from anxiety or from excitement. You have to be able to learn to tell the difference.
And it's just by honest.
You will know the difference. I mean, simply put, remove all of the other conditions and things that are attached to this. Do you not fundamentally have the capacity to know the difference between excitement and anxiety within yourself?
I do.
All right, then keep it at that level. And if something comes up that you're uncertain about, ask yourself the question: am I choosing to do or not do this because I'm excited about another way, or this is not my path? You ask yourself these questions, you will have more honest self-examination, and you will know whether you are or are not choosing something from excitement or anxiety. You'll learn that process. You'll feel it out, and you'll get used to being able to tell the difference more clearly. But you have to take that moment to ask yourself these questions. You don't have to rush forward. You don't have to make an immediate decision necessarily all the time. So take the time to find out why you are or are not making a choice, why you are or are not moving forward on something or changing your mind about something. You have the ability to always ask yourself the question, why am I doing what I'm doing?
Thank you. And I also have another question.
Yes.
How everything is a reflection of you. For example, a concrete floor or a piece of paper.
Yes. Well, again, you don't have to necessarily always put 100% reflection into everything. Some things are not necessarily a one-to-one reflection. Some things might simply be background reflections to allow you to do what you need to do, but it's not like you have to completely pay attention to those things. It might just be the chessboard that you're playing on, and it's more important for you to focus on the game that is being played rather than the fact that you're playing on a chessboard.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
So my last question is about heart. So,
Yes.
so I've read a book that heart has memory. So
It does.
when we have these experiences, are they like stored in the heart instead of the brain?
It's not that they're stored in the heart or the brain. It's that there is a configuration that happens within the brain and the heart that allows them, when they need to tap into information that you simply translate as a memory. But it's being created in the present.
Mm-hmm. Everything is created in the present.
There is no other time in which to create something.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much. I think that's all.
All right. We thank you for the co-creation of the interaction. Our unconditional love to you.
To you too. Bye.
So as to avoid any potentially regrettable futures for their present selves. I hope that makes sense. Thank you very much. That is all. Good day.
Well, first and foremost, you're defining the idea that if you're actually in the vibration of your true present self, that could somehow contain the idea you call a regrettable future. You have to separate those things and not combine them together, because the definition of being in your true self and in your passion cannot possibly vibrationally contain the idea of a regrettable future. All you're simply saying is you're holding on to belief systems that you would probably prefer to let go of, that say that somehow by acting on your passion and moving forward in the way that you prefer to, that something would somehow go wrong. That's not a definition of a vibration of your true self. That's a different definitional vibration. So you have to decide whether or not you want to keep connecting that other definition to your passion, or whether you want to realize that it has nothing to do with the vibration of what you can experience in the reality of your passion.
Shivaya Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a number of questions to ask you. And we'll start out with the number one about preferences. You speak about preferences a fair amount.
Yes.
And I'm curious about what determines preferences, like interest in arts or science or type of music, the work we choose. Are they the soul's themes we're exploring in life? Are they influenced?
Preferences are what aligns with your passion. It aligns with who you really are, what represents your path, your particular search, your particular investigation as this particular individual in this lifetime.
I see. And are they influenced by our DNA or physiology or life's experiences?
They can be, but they're more influenced by what you believe to be true.
Oh, okay. Fascinating. In terms of themes that we're exploring in life, as you were saying,
yes,
the themes that we're exploring, are they related, or are there general themes that the Oversoul is exploring with us, or how does the connection?
Yes, it's more about the idea in general of transformation from one thing to another. The specifics are usually revealed in whatever the challenges are that come up in your life. That's usually a revelation of the specifics of the theme. Transform this, now transform that.
Gotcha, thank you. I'm curious about the hybrid children. You've talked about this planet being toxic with the air, food, water, and EMFs. How will the hybrid children deal with the environmental pollutants and pathogens? How do they do that?
Well, the idea is that they do have ways of dealing with that to some degree, but by the time they actually come in full force, those things will have been somewhat diminished.
Okay, great. Question I've been wanting to ask you for 13 years now. Yeah. Sexuality is such a powerful driving force on this planet. What is it about that, and why do sexual boundary crossings and violations have such a profound impact on the human psyche?
Well, again, it's about anything being done either for positive reasons in alignment with your true self or negative reasons that are out of alignment. The sexuality itself is one way to allow yourself to align with energies that are physical in nature and allow you to ground yourself in the earth vibration as an expression of nature. And when utilized in very positive ways of integrity and equality, then the ideas can profoundly accelerate and increase the vibration of your resonance. Of course, you know that, again, anything can be used positively or negatively. So when used negatively in terms of controlling issues or self-depreciation issues or one of the various fear-based belief systems that exist on your planet that you connect to sexuality, then of course your vibration will in some sense lower.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Speaking of the ET neighborhood, several decades ago, a channel brought to me one of the most refined spirits I have ever experienced. And beyond, the purity was beyond anything I thought was possible.
All right.
The name of this being was Esarera. And it struck me how similar that name is to Esasani. Is there any relationship there? Who was this being?
There is. It's a hybrid being that you are connected with that might be representative of a counterpart. You understand that term?
Yes.
All right. So you may be dealing with a counterpart version from the same oversoul that you are an extension of, to give you a reflection for guidance synchronistically that is also connected to my reality.
Whoa. Profoundly struck by that.
All right.
Oof. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Wow. That was really helpful.
All right.
I live in the San Francisco Bay Area where the lightning storms have started many of the fires here.
How exciting.
It was actually at some level. And I had a felt sense that the lightning was conscious and then the lightning strikes were somehow intentional. That's not the right word. Is there anything to
I understand exactly what you mean. The idea, again, is to understand that weather is a reflection of the collective emotional body of your entire world. And therefore, there may be archetypal representations that, of course, if you're sensitive enough, you will sense the consciousness in, because it is an expression of the collective consciousness of your planet on an emotional basis.
Ooh, wow. Thank you. That's very enlightening, as it were.
Oh, thank you for the pun.
Infants. I'm curious about infants. You've invited us to ask the question of ourselves, what would I have to believe to be true to have this feeling I'm having?
Yes.
How does that work in infants? Do they actually have thoughts like that? Or
they're not formed that way yet. They haven't all crystallized yet into the belief system structure of the collective. So they kind of come and go and still rely on their connection to their spirit.
Oh, okay.
But they may be absorbing some of those belief systems as they grow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And given all that, what is the wisdom of all the changes that are happening now with the fires, the storms, the flooding, COVID, the political, social unrest?
Well, certainly you are being given a reflection of the consequences of the choices that many of you have made, and whether or not you are now willing to take responsibility, meaning the ability to respond, to make changes that are more in the direction that you really prefer. Remember, physical reality is just a mirror.
Right.
So if you don't necessarily prefer what you're seeing in the reflection, it's a good opportunity to get in touch by contrast between what you don't prefer and what you really do, and then to act accordingly. But this is the convergence time. In other words, all the different cycles of what you have created are now converging. That's what this time is all about. So that there is absolutely no mistaking the consequences of the choices that have been being made.
It seems
Then
like
you get to decide.
Yes, it seems like the delay between our decisions and when the consequence happens seems to be, we can't seem to put those two together.
Well, you live in a reality of space-time construction, and therefore there can be what you call a delay. But it's bringing to your attention that the idea of a choice and the consequence are actually getting closer and closer, and not as much are they delayed.
Nice. Okay. I'm curious about how the Earth was populated with animals and the aquatic species and the plants. was it DNA fragments? Was it delivered to us by other ET species? How did this?
Well, both. There is the idea of panspermia. You understand that?
Yes.
Of genetic material being delivered by asteroids and comets. There is also the idea of certain deliveries by extraterrestrial races of certain genetic material as well. It's one of the ways that nature has of expanding itself and creating evolution, is that some races develop to the point where they simply become mechanisms, not to devalue them, for the idea of the expansion and continuation of evolution of other races and other planets.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Last question. I feel like I have some connection with this third star in Orion's belt. Is there a planet? Do I have some kind of connection with?
Yes, as we have discussed sometimes, the ancient Orion systems form a very strong energetic connection for many people on Earth at this time, because it was an experience in some of the ancient Orion systems millions of years ago of experiencing very, very strong, very deep oppression, repression, some of the things you are beginning to experience more of on your planet. And therefore, this is an opportunity to connect to those ancient Orion energies of negativity and darkness and transform them into light, so that you don't necessarily have to experience the Orion path as you experienced before a long time ago on Earth again. The idea of the Earth at this time is that it is kind of a melting pot of different kinds of pathways that different souls have taken, all coming together to now live out certain experiences and attempt to transform them into more positive ones. Earth is a transformer planet.
Oh, beautiful. What an exciting time to be here.
It is.
And is the number 11 associated with that star system?
Not directly, no. More, again, the number of 13.
13, okay, great.
Both the positive and the negative aspects of it that have come into your folklore.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bashar. I am just deeply grateful to have this contact with you.
As we also deeply appreciate the co-creation of such, our unconditional love and support to you.
Hello, Bashar. My name is Kay. I'm from Hong Kong. I want to ask about Hong Kong. This is a very challenging time for us politically. I want to know on a personal level and as a group, what kind of action or belief system that we should take in order to have a positive experience out of this. Thank you.
Well, clearly positive belief systems, positive definitions. But again, it all comes down to the distillation that we have shared with all of you that leaves nothing out. Follow the formula as best as you can, as best as you are able. Examine your belief systems and exchange the negative ones for positive ones, create positive definitions. And remember, it's not so much about what happens as it is about what you do with what happens that makes the difference. So no matter how things look, respond to them in positive ways. I'm not saying you ignore that something might be being created from a negative place, but you don't have to experience negativity just because it was created that way. If you maintain a positive relationship to the experience in your reality, you'll be able to use it to your advantage. So you have to stay in that state and see things from that viewpoint, from a more holistic perspective, and assign more positive definitions and meanings to the things in your reality. Whether they are created or you perceive that they're created negatively in other people's realities makes no difference. If you remain in that positive state, you will get the benefit from whatever happens if you keep that relationship between you and that circumstance in a positive state of being.